A very good evening, everyone, and welcome to this masterclass session on mastering the art of digital presence, Become the Best You, organized by TCS CSR Youth Employment Program. I am Debushubra Banerjee, and I will be your host this evening. Please note that this session is being recorded. TCS Youth Employment Program, or YP as we call it, focuses on the biggest challenge of modern India, unemployment among youth. Through a unique teach, coach, mentor, and place model, we promote inclusive growth by enhancing the skills of the youth through improved employment opportunities leading to enhanced livelihood. Today's discussion is focused on a topic that is creating a lot of buzz in the industry as a strategic tool. Yes, we are referring to social media, which has taken the world by storm. In a world which cannot be imagined by the World Wide Web or the Internet, as we commonly call it, social media is getting more and more relevant. This session will provide you rich insights on the key aspects of brand building in the digital space and guide you on building a rewarding and successful career in this domain. I would request all the attendees to take full advantage of this session and understand the related career opportunities. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat window. Also, please share your constructive feedback in the post-session survey. There are a few people who know the digital world better than our guest today. The incredibly successful Mr. Ishan Sharma is our guest for this evening. Our young guest is a social media influencer, an entrepreneur, content creator, and a published author of best-selling books. With over 1.8 million followers in social media, Ishan speaks about career freelancing business on social platforms. He has worked with major multinational players on their social media campaigns and delivered speeches at reputable colleges like IIT Jodhpur, among others. Welcome, Ishan, to this masterclass, and over to you to take the session forward.
Hi, Deb. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Am I audible to you and everyone?
Yes, Ishan, you're audible.
Wonderful. So let's get started. Hi, everyone.
Absolutely.
This is truly a honor for me to come on this platform and share whatever I've learned. I will be sharing a lot of interesting tips and advice for you. So I would really recommend if you would take notes as much as possible. This is going to be a 45-minute, 50-minute type talk in which I'll be talking about some things. I'll be asking you some questions and I want to keep it as interactive as possible. So let's quickly get started. I will be sharing my screen. I'll be showing you some of my experiences, my life stories. What did I learn from that? And what can you take away from this 1 hour talk? Let's get started. So I'm just going to share. Is the screen visible? Is the screen visible?
Not yet, Aman. Sorry, oh, not yet. Ishan is coming. Yeah, visible now.
Okay. All right. Great. So let's quickly get started, guys. 4 years ago, I'm 2022 right now. But when I was 18, I had joined this college called as BITS Pilani Goa campus, right? I had always dreamt of getting into IITs. That was my dream. I was grown while looking at news about the packages, and my parents always wanted me to get into an IIT. So I tried really hard. I joined the best coaching institutes, but somehow I could not pass the IIT JEE advanced exam. But what happened afterwards is that I got into BITS Pilani Goa campus, and that's me on the 8th of September 2019 around the campus. I was just walking around, clicked a picture. Now, when I got into college, I am a typical Sharma ji ka beta, which means that I used to be very studious. I used to be the top ranker of my class whenever I was in class 9th, 8th, and 10th. But when I came into college, I realized something. Everyone around me was a top ranker, right? Everyone came at top three ranks in their class, and I just could not compete with all of them. So I felt that I lack something. I felt that I'm not complete. I cannot stand out of everyone, right? I felt that I lack something inside of me. I used to attend all of these events. There were a lot of events organized both online and offline, just like this one in which you are listening to me. I used to go to these events and I used to wonder, there are so many people around me. How will I beat? I should not say beat, but how will I get the best jobs? How will I get the best opportunities when there are so many people fighting for the same thing, right? And I'm sure you might have felt the same thing as well. Now, what happened later on is, I was just thinking about this. There's a picture of me back in hostel in first year, just thinking about what my life is going and where do I see myself in the next 5 years, the typical question you might have seen in your interviews. So, what happened is my first 2 to 3 years of my college was all about this burning question. How do I stand out? How do I become better? How do I acquire skill sets? And how do I build a reputation for myself, right? If I would have gotten into an IIT, it was very simple for me to say, hey, I'm from an IIT. But because I am not from an IIT, I need proof. I need something else that I can add to my CV, to my headline that separates me from the majority of the crowd. And that's what I want to talk to you today in this video, or in this talk, I should say. I'm too used to making videos. Okay, who am I today? Right? You saw that version of mine, clueless, confused, anxious, puzzled about life, right? Who am I today? That's a picture of me. I clicked yesterday. I was in a Bangalore venture capital event, and I've gained over 2 million followers, as they've said, in the last 3, 4 years. I started with LinkedIn, then moved to YouTube, then Instagram, then Twitter, and I've just been sharing my journey and the lessons that I've learned that got me here in the first place. So over 2 million followers. I built a 8-figure business, which is MarketUp. It's a 25-person remote agency, which I started 2 years ago with my roommate, who is now my co-founder. And we have just been working on it day in and day out. It's now making multiple crores every single year. And I am saying all of this not to boast, but to tell you where I was and where I am today and what lessons can we learn from this whole transition, you can call it, right? I published 2 books. Uh, First one, self-published. Second one is an Amazon bestseller published through Penguin. And I've given over 27 speeches, as they've mentioned, at IIT Jodhpur, at multiple NITs, and other institutes as well. Alongside all of that, I also got to work with some of my dream companies, right? I got to collaborate with Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and many, many others. 100 plus companies I've worked with in the past 3 to 4 years. And I'm 22, as I've just talked about before, right? So I was able to do all of this not because I'm talented, not because I have some, unique insight. I got here because I knew three very important things. And that's all that we'll be talking about today in this entire talk. All of those three things I paid attention to in the last 3 years, and that is what got me here today. So let's have a look at all three of them. Three things that changed my life, starting with number one, and that is personal branding. Personal branding is one of the most important things that you should be focusing on in 2024. We'll talk about why in this talk. I also focus on skill stacking, right? It's a new concept. Not many of you would know about it, but it's also something that can truly change the career trajectory you are on and can get you a ton of more opportunities. It is the single most important thing that will help you stand out from the crowd. And lastly, communication skills. I'll talk about all three of them one by one. Let's get started with the first one, and that is personal branding, right? Personal brand. I want to first start with why, right? There's a book called Start with Why by Simon Sinek, and he says that it's very important for you to know the why, and then the other questions will follow. So let's try to understand the why. Why do you need to build your brand? Do you need to be an influencer? Do you need to make content? No, relax. You need to build a brand so that you can get discoverable, right? The biggest advantage I had when I got to work with companies like Google, Amazon, and others was that I was in front of them, was that they could discover me through social platforms. And this might sound very simple, but it can unlock doors in your career that you could never even imagine, right? So why build your brand? Because it gets you discoverability. It gets you in front of people around the world. I just got a call from Google. They want me to do some shoot in New York City. It's crazy, right? I'm sitting here in Bangalore in my room making videos for the last 3 years. and someone from New York City watches my video and they want to bring me there. It's insane the opportunities you can unlock if you just focus on building your own personal brand. So that's the why about building a personal brand. 2024 is going to be all about people grabbing opportunities only because they have a proof of work. What is proof of work? Well, proof of work is essentially you showing the work that you've done through platforms, through a portfolio, instead of you relying on degrees and certificates. While degrees and certificates are great, everyone has that, right? Everyone has tons of certificates, everyone can have degrees. Lots of IITs are now offering online programs as well. So it's relatively easy for you to get the degrees and the certificates. What's really hard is to build a project, is to showcase what you've learned by actually you know, ex- by actually implementing the skills that you have into a project. So that is why you need to build your brand. What is a brand? Let's talk about that. A lot of you might not know what a brand is and what is not. There's an amazing book called as Brands and Bullshit. It is a very great book for you to understand what is a brand and what is not. But let's go back to this question. Brand is very simply defined by this. When you are not in a room, the number of people over there, what do they think of you? Let's just say that you go into a room, you meet people, and then you go out of that room. What is the impression of you in the minds of people? That is your brand. It's not your name, it's not your logo, it's not your tagline, it's also not your job role. It is how you made them feel or what did you stand for. And that is what brand is all about. How do you get started? How do you start with building a brand? Let's try to understand that. I'll give you a very simple framework. You just need to focus on one thing and one thing only: LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is the single most important platform, which if you start using today, in the next 90 days can open up a ton of opportunities for you. Let me break it down to you how it happens. We'll start with the LinkedIn profile itself, right? Even before you start creating content on LinkedIn, it's very important that you nail down your own LinkedIn profile. Okay, so let's see how that works. So this is what my LinkedIn profile looks like. We'll take multiple examples over here. First of all, I have a recognizable face, right? My face is clearly visible over there and it is contrasting, right? Background is gray, my face is lit and it is clearly visible with people. The biggest mistake people make is that their face is just not properly visible, right? They click a selfie and they post it as a profile picture on LinkedIn. Please don't do that. Please be professional on the platform. Just need to have a headshot. So you just need to take a picture till your chest and then just put that out and ensure that your face is clearly visible. That's the first most important tip. Secondly, you need to master the headline. Now, there's a stat which says that any recruiter or any person who lands on a LinkedIn profile will only look at a profile for about 7 seconds, just 7 seconds. So you need to ensure that you get their attention in these 7 seconds itself, right? Now, when I say 7 seconds, the only way that you will be able to grab their attention is with this headline. Headline is what defines what you're doing. Now, most people who are in colleges or just getting started, they'll just write, oh, I'm a student at X college, or they'll just say that I am, graduate from X college. Well, that is great. You should flaunt your college and where did you go to. But the problem with that is there are hundreds, if not thousands of students who have also gone to the same college. And so they will all write the same headline. And when that happens, you lose exclusivity and your profile becomes boring. So anyone who looks at your headline for 7 seconds will immediately get bored and will not even look at the rest of the profile. So it's very important for you to basically make your profile the most attractive version of yourself. As I've said, I've written over there, I'm building Centora and MarketUp. Those are my two big ventures. I am a YouTuber with 1 million plus subscribers. I am from BITS Pilani Goa campus, and I'm helping brands grow on YouTube. Now, when I say all of this, this separates me from the majority of the people. There are very few YouTubers with 1 million plus subscribers who are also running an agency which is helping brands grow. on YouTube particularly, right? So I've just built a niche of one, and that is the best thing you can do for yourself. So that is your headline. It has to be attractive. It has to catch attention of people. If it is boring, you are out of luck. Not going to get opportunities. This is your featured section. This is where you put in all the things that are important to you, that are like your career milestones, right? So for example, this was my first book, Crush It on LinkedIn. This is my first speech, which I gave at the age of 18, I believe, in Mumbai. So I was just highlighting all of those achievements and milestones of my career. This is about section, right? Now, this is your chance to use as many keywords as possible to optimize your profile for LinkedIn search, right? Now, if you have a look at this, I have used keywords, right? Freelancing and business on social. I have worked with companies like Google, Amazon, An Academy, Flipkart, Cred. And if you go down, I have written about many different things that I'm working on, right? I have done this degree from this college, and I've also taught as a coding instructor. So I've used that keyword coding instructor. I've used the languages I've taught, Python and JavaScript. I've taken live classes, so I've mentioned that. So it's basically a well scripted description of what I am and what I've done, right? So that is what it is all about. It needs to be simple. It needs to have all the keywords that you want to rank for. Okay, let's keep going. The next part is your experience. Now, experience is where you will write down all the things that you've done, but that's not it. The biggest mistake people make is they just write down what have I done and what role I was in. The best thing to do here is to actually be descriptive and write down how were you valuable to this company? What ROI did you present to this company that was not available before? What were the metrics? Give me the numbers, give me the statistics, right? So if you will have a look at this, I am a co-founder at MarketUp. It's been 2 years and these many months. It's a YouTube growth agency. We work with these clients. And in the last 6 months, we have grown social presence of startups by as much as 8x, right? So I'm using statistics. I'll give you one more example. I used to intern as a marketing manager at Codam. It's a Bitsian startup. And I have listed down everything that I did over here, right? So I worked on product market fit. I worked on influencer marketing. I worked on viral marketing. I worked on Instagram ads and Facebook ads. And so when I'm writing all of that, this is giving a lot more perspective and information to the recruiter that, okay, this guy has worked on all of those things, and it is also optimizing your profile for these keywords. So if anyone searches for, let's just say, influencer marketing, my profile will be better optimized to rank in that search in LinkedIn than someone else's profile. So I get more points by the LinkedIn algorithm when I mention those keywords. I hope that I'm being clear to you. Okay, next up is skills. Again, as I've said before, you have to mention the keywords. For me, it was Python programming language, it was video editing, it was artificial intelligence, and many more. You'll see one more thing called as endorsements over here, right? And it says that endorsed by 3 other colleagues at YouTube. This is the best thing you can do. Social status is what matters on LinkedIn. And if they can see that, X number of people have endorsed you for that skill, that probably means that you actually are skilled in that and you're not just lying about it. So get endorsements by your friends, by your colleagues, by bosses that you've worked with, managers that you've worked with, and that is going to be very, very important. All right, this is just a simple example of what a search on LinkedIn looks like. A recruiter will just search for React developer and they will have a look at all of the results. Right now, I can see these are all the people that I can look at. You will notice that all of them have mentioned the keyword React developer, React.js developer, React developer, current role, React developer at some company. So this is very important. You need to rank for those keywords. So you have to mention those keywords multiple times throughout your profile, right? So that is essentially how LinkedIn works. That is the part in which you optimize your LinkedIn profile. The next step, however, is to actually create content. Right now, I have a very simple framework. Ask yourself 3 questions. What news I can cover, what resources I can share, and lastly, what stories I can tell, right? Let's break this down one by one. Let's say that you are in the field of AI, right? You are looking at all the AI tools, you're looking at all the research, all the businesses over here. Share news. Talk about what is happening in the space. What are the new tools that are being launched? Talk about all of that. Number two, are you resourceful? If you are a coder, if you want to become a React developer, in this case, start sharing posts which are about resources. Well, here are 5 React.js courses that you should not miss in 2024. Just a simple hook, and then you note down all of those courses over there. People love following people who are resourceful or people who can inspire them. So either you make them laugh, either you inspire them, or you are giving them value. You're giving them the access to resources. Could be a course, could be cheat sheet, could be whatever, right? So that is essentially how creating content on LinkedIn works. The last thing in my list is, what are your stories? And this is probably the most important part about LinkedIn. Creating content on LinkedIn is all about connecting with humans, right? It's that simple. You are there as a human. You want to connect with someone who's also human. The best way to connect with humans is with stories. Stories is what connects people. And if you can create a powerful story which relates with the masses, you will win. My most viral post on LinkedIn is about my journey of going from someone who's clueless in 2019 to trying to do something with my life in 2022. That post got over 45,000 likes, was getting millions of impressions, and I was just blown away by the love people had on this platform. So connect with people, start sharing those stories, be resourceful with people, be valuable, and that is what will enable people to follow you on LinkedIn, right? So that's a bit about personal branding. You have to figure out what is your niche, right? If you're a developer, you can talk about technology, you can talk about software development, and you can also talk about business if that is what you're interested in. Figure out the 3 pillars and just focus on these three. Do not go outside, just focus on the 3 pillars and create content around that and ask yourself the 3 questions. So that's about personal branding. I want to now take questions if you have any around personal branding, and then we'll move ahead to the next 2 things which are left today. Should I stop presenting?
And they you're on mute. Okay. So, Ishan, so yeah, we have quite a few questions lined up for you. So
Mhm.
we can take a few of them right now. And
Done.
so the first question that we have for you, you have already covered the first part of this question, which is the best platform for building brand. But we want to know how much time does it take to build the brand, given that patience is running short these days. So how effective is LinkedIn on building brand on a short time, or do we need to have some patience here?
You don't need to be thinking about the short time. So that the
Mm.
problem is you all look at short fixes, right? Uh, the way it works is you would basically be creating 3 to 4 posts every week and just do that consistently. What you're basically doing is you are telling the platform that I am consistent. I will come onto the platform and I'll share a story. And LinkedIn will immediately start recommending it to people. And the best part about LinkedIn is that your posts will grow exponentially if it is liked by enough people at the start. So it works like a network, like a web. If I like some post, all of my connections will be able to see that post and it will say Ishan Sharma likes this post. And if they like it, all of their connections get to see it. So it's like that chain that forms, and you can literally go viral on the platform if you really create a captivating story. So start sharing your stories. What lessons did you learn? What failures did you have? What were some success stories that you've had? Just share as much as possible, and that will help you build a brand. There is no timeline that how much time it will take. It is just a journey that you go through, right? You go from not having a brand to somewhat having a brand to having a good brand to having an epic brand, right? So there's no end goal that this point you will have a complete brand. So yeah,
Okay, so the focus is on content here. So
exactly.
if
Just share stories.
So if the focus is on content, which brings me to my next question. So how do you plan your content? Do you have a calendar? How do you schedule your content?
Sure. So the way it works for me is I have this tool called as Notion.so. So Notion.so is a free tool you can download, and you can basically create a project management workspace. On that project management workspace, you can create multiple columns. One column could be for ideas. One column could be for in progress, then edited, then published. So when you have all of that ready, every Sunday I just sit down on my laptop and I just think of ideas, stories, how can I be resourceful, or what news I can cover in my space. And I just create those ideas over there. And throughout the week, I just come back at this dashboard and I start writing out all the posts over there itself. And I just start shifting those from ideas to in progress to edited. And once I publish it, published. So that's a simple system that you can build for yourself that will enable you to constantly, push out content without missing out on anything.
Brilliant, simple yet very effective.
Yes.
So the third and the final question for this section. So again, you have already covered it, but since this is a question from a student, if you could say something more specific about this. So what makes a good profile on LinkedIn, education skills, and you have already covered through what are the main features that a person should have. But again, if you have to narrow it down, so what are the key things that a profile should have or must have?
It should basically have a few things. Number one, a clear picture. It should have a good headline in which you can catch attention of anyone. Number three, it should have a descriptive about section where you mention all the keywords that you want to rank for or jobs that you're looking for, right? Marketing, UI, UX design, software development. Mention that, be clear about it. Fourth would be the experiences you've had. Be descriptive in every company you worked in and what ROI did you create for the company. And lastly would be the skills. So just mention all of those things and that will help you do better.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ishan. I think we can proceed with your content now and take up the rest of the questions as we follow.
Epic. So that was the first part of the talk. Let me just go back. Is the screen visible?
Not yet, but it's about to be visible, I believe. Yes, visible.
All right. So this is skill stacking. This is the second most important thing you need in 2024. So this is a very new concept. I learned it last year and I realized that I'm actually following it. Is this called as skill stacking? So there's a simple classroom that I think all of you can relate with, in which you are going every morning, you are here till evening, and you are learning about some complex topic, right? There's some professor who comes in, he has been teaching the same topic every single year. He's tired of it, but he's still doing it because it pays the bills and he's just doing it for the sake of it. I'm not saying this is for every professor, I'm saying it's for some part of number of professors, right? And you come in, you are listening to his lectures and you're just bored. You are learning things that you won't really be needed in the next 4 or 5 years. I'm saying this because technology and innovation is moving fast at a pace in which what you are being taught today may not even be relevant in the next 5 years. That is just the brutal reality of it. Our degrees are 4 year long degrees, right? You learn something today and you just hope that in the next 4 or 5 years, this will be relevant. And that is, if that is not the case, then you're just caught holding onto your old, lessons and concepts. This is a very funny picture. I think that most people in India look like this. They're all dinosaurs by the time they graduate with outdated skills, outdated mindset, and they just don't know what works in the industry. What skills will they need? What mindset will they need? What should be their work ethic like? So that's a very good, demonstration of what you would look like. Moving on, right? So it's all outdated. But what you need are new age skills. And I want to give you some examples, right? So meet, again, this is 15 lakh engineers graduate every single year in India, out of which as you can see, only 2.5 lakh land jobs. The rest are unemployed, which is a huge problem in India. But if you look closely, right, what is really happening here is most engineers just cannot be employed because they don't have the skills which are needed in today's job world. And how do we tackle that? Let's try to understand this with skill stacking. So again, the question is, how are you different? You are just among the 15 lakh engineers who are graduating. How are you different? I'm taking example of engineers, but you can take example of any graduate. I'm just taking something that I am experienced with. So this is the example, right? This is a friend of mine, Anik. He's a designer. He lives in Mumbai. He studies in a college. He just turned 20. And what he's been doing in the last couple of years is he creates logo designs for companies. But what he does even more is that he publishes his work on Instagram. He showcases his process. He shows how he built a logo for a brand or a company, right? And just because of that, he gets work every single month without him having to go to anyone and request for work. He gets opportunities automatically because he is, as I said before, discoverable, right? He is out there, people are watching his content, and now people want to give him work. People want him to work on their projects. And that is the best thing you can learn from it. There are tons of designers in this country, right? Lakhs of designers are there. But what separates him is that he is seen. There's a very popular saying, right? Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. What is shown is what sells. What you see every day is what sells. So that's a basic example of discoverability. I'll tell you why this is important. There's another friend of mine, Mehul Mohan. He is the founder of Codedam. He's a senior of mine. What he did was to go on Fiverr and create a gig. And from 8th grade, he was freelancing, right? He was helping people solve problems with their website. There are so many websites out there, right? And it is very natural for people to come up with errors, with problems, and people are not developers. So they go on Fiverr and they come across him, and he was making $1,000 to $2,000 every single month by just solving problems of people and just doing that from the comfort of his college hostel, right? I'll tell you why this is important as well. We'll learn about this. Here is another guy, right? Islo. Now, Islo is also called as the Notion guy. He is active on Twitter and he shares tips for productivity and note taking, particularly Notion, the tool I've just talked about. What he does best is that he talks about Notion and all of these tips and sells Notion templates. He does not know how to code, does not know how to design. All he knows is Notion. And he built Notion templates and sold it through his Twitter profile. And as you can see, he is just 20 and he sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of templates. Why? Again, because he was discoverable and because he knew how to sell. I'll tell you why this is important now. So all of these look like code, design, marketing, which you all always seen, right? You might be like, Ishan, this is known. Like we all know about this. We all know that code is important, designing is important, marketing is an important skill. Well, hear me out, right? You've heard of all of this, but let me present you the skill stacking pyramid, right? That's not it. Here we have the skill stacking pyramid, and we'll try to understand what this means. So basically at the lower of the pyramid, at the bottom of the pyramid, we have certain hard skills, right? You have code, you have design, and you have marketing, right? You can be a software developer, you can be a web developer, you can help people with AI, data science, machine learning. You can also be a UI UX designer. You can help people with social media design. You can help people with thumbnails on YouTube, and you can also do marketing for people. All of you know about that. But there are also some complementary skills that these examples had, I just showed you, that help them to separate them from the majority of the population who just has these hard core skills. Let's try to understand. The first complementary skill they had was sales. They were all great at selling themselves online, right? Sales is the most important soft skill you can learn because it literally enables you to attract people to buy what you have to sell. And so if you're good at sales, you will conquer everything. Right? That is the most important skill. Sadly, most people in India are bad at sales. They just don't know how to sell something. Right? And we'll try to understand how to work around that. Negotiation, the art of going up to someone and negotiating for a better price, for a fair value. That is another very important skill that most people do not have. And because of that, they are not able to get the right package from companies that they work with. They are not able to get what they really want from life. They are not able to, just make their point, right? They just don't know how to negotiate, right? We're so used to apps like Blinkit, Zomato, and all of the other ones that we just don't know how to negotiate. We just see the price and we just buy it. While if you are great at negotiation, you can literally win in life. You can make better deals, you can get more freelance clients, and you can overall do much better if you know how to negotiate. Storytelling. Another very important skill that I have learned in the last 3 to 4 years is how do you tell better stories? And it is very important if you want to build a personal brand on LinkedIn. Storytelling is a skill that will just 100x your opportunities if you know how to communicate a great story, right? You know how to code, but you can also tell great stories and you know how to do sales. That combo is what separates you from everyone else. Just an example, right? Okay, number 4 is copywriting. Your ability to write effective content that captures attention of people online is very important, right? Copywriting is a very underrated skill, I think. And the more you learn about it, the more you realize how effective it can be, right? I'm not just talking about making ads. I'm talking about selling yourself online through written content, right? So if you master the skill of writing effectively, it can help you out a lot. And we'll try to understand how this works in the next segment. Okay, next up, we have public speaking, right? If you are a developer who can speak very well and knows how to tell better stories, you will be able to get so many opportunities that most others will not be able to get, right? Most developers just know how to write code. They don't know how to communicate, and they are just not good at sales. They just don't know how to sell. But if you can combine all of these skills, you become the number one person in that field, right? And at the end, we also have something called as user behavior, understanding what does the user want? What is it that will entice the user to stay on the platform? Another very important skill. And so what this basically creates is a collection of complementary skills. If matched with your hardcore skill, will create a skills stack, right? So if you have 3 of these skills, just give me a moment. So if you have 3 of these skills, you will be unstoppable, right? You will have the best opportunities that most people can only imagine of, right? For an example, if anyone is great at design and knows sales and can also do copywriting, they will win because they can write effectively and they know how to sell. They can sell to anyone around them. While most designers only know how to design something, right? So I hope I'm making a point. This is a very important skill. And if you stack all of this, this is who you will become. You will literally become the super saiyan of your industry. So that is the second part, skill stacking. I like to call it stack out to stand out. And that is the number one most important lesson I've learned in the last 3 years of my journey. Right. So that is the second segment of our talk here. I will again stop to see if we have any questions available over here.
Okay, Ishan. So again, we have a few questions here. Since
Right.
we are talking about skills,
Mhm.
so what about people who do not have any sales skills to begin with? So
Mhm.
it could be for multiple factors. Maybe it could not, it's not the person's primary skill set. Could be the person is media shy, could be not so comfortable on social media, but the skill sets are such that that person needs to sell a service or a product. So what do you recommend in such cases?
That is exactly what you need, right? So first of all, let's just say that you are a developer, right? You know how to code. You don't know how to talk in front of people. The best thing is to start working on that, because you know that if you can combine both of these skills, you can code and you can also talk and sell something, that will make you unstoppable. So you try to combine both of them and you put all of your energy on learning to speak better, because that is what will separate you from the rest of the developers. So that is how you would do it. There's a whole discussion we can have on how do you sell better, how do you write effectively, how do you speak better in public speaking. But I think this call is a bit short for that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So my second question to you is that, building on what we have said, so you have already said that LinkedIn being the best platform for professionals, but
Mhm.
now we have seen that Insta is coming up with lightning speed. So is it possible that Insta at some point would become a competitor of LinkedIn in terms of selling products and services? That's number one. And the second question is that, can you sell on both platforms simultaneously? If so, how much effort does that take?
Right. I think you should start with one platform at a time and go deep into that one platform, be consistent on that, and then go on to the next one. Right? Rome was not built in one day. So, what you need to understand here is Instagram is a great platform, but it only works if you know what your goal is. Let's say that you want to work with hotels, you want to work with lifestyle brands, you want to work with D2C companies, Mama Earth or other ones. So when you want to work with all of these companies, you naturally know that all of them will be on Instagram, right? So it is all about having that awareness that where is my dream company at? Where is my industry at? And then you have to be there. If you are into blockchain, LinkedIn will not help you, but Twitter will. Twitter has a ton of blockchain and Web3 people. So if you want to get opportunities there, you have to set up your personal branding on Twitter. I was talking on a more broad sense, saying that LinkedIn is the easiest because you create written content over there, and it is better to do that first and then go into Twitter or other platforms. You need to first learn and master that one platform. So I think that's how you should go about it.
Okay. Thank you, Ishan. We can continue with your content and come back again to the questions.
Awesome. So let's go back to it and talk about the last segment. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible, Ishan.
All right. So communication skills. This is the third most important thing in the last 3 years that I've learned. Right. I'll tell you my own story. Right. You can see me speaking well, communicating effectively today, but it was not like this forever. Right. If you go back to 2017, 18, 19, I was I was very shy. I just did not know how to communicate well. I was underconfident and I just thought that अगर मैंने कुछ गलत बोल दिया तो क्या बोलेंगे लोग? I used to think that if I made a mistake, what will they think? Right? So that was my entire thought process. And I would just not speak anything in classes, in events, in competitions. I would be the person sitting at the back of the bench and just looking at everything. People used to invite me that, Ishan, why don't you go first? And I would be like, no, I don't go for it. I'm just writing something. I'm just doing something. In reality, I really wanted to. I was just shy, did not know what will happen if I say something wrong. So that was my story. I went through a lot of iterations. I've made 1100 videos on my channel. And by that process of showing up every single day for 3 years is how I was able to learn to communicate with clarity and confidence. Right. So that is what my story looks like. I am sure a lot of you would relate with it. Most of us do not know how to communicate effectively. Most of us have that fear of public speaking, that you go in front of 10 people and you'll be blank. You go to the stage and your legs are shivering. You are stammering, you are stuttering, and you do not know what to speak. You forgot your speech. You're taking out that page and reading it out. And then, I'm sure a lot of you will relate with it. Right. So that was the 18-year-old Ishan. And this is me today. Right. Last year, I went to this creator meetup and I want you to write in the comment section, are you able to recognize creators over here? There are a ton of famous creators in this picture, and I want you to tell me who are they and what are their names. Put it down in the comment section. We'll come back to that later. But as you can see, I, in just a span of 2 to 3 years, was able to meet the top creators of India. I was here with them and I was interacting, I was communicating, I was networking. But how did this all happen? Right? So let me break it down. How did I get here? Right? We can break down communication skills into two parts, written and verbal. Right? When you talk about written, you're essentially meeting people through text. You're writing something on WhatsApp, you are emailing something, you are on Slack, you are just writing and expressing yourself. Right now, the most biggest use case you will be having of written skills will be through emails. You will always be finding yourself writing emails here and there right now to get opportunities, tomorrow to communicate with your colleagues and your managers and the team and the company that you're working at. So emails is very, very important, right? I have this framework called as KISS. It's a very popular framework that you will find people use. KISS is short for keep it stupid simple. Keep it stupid simple. What does that mean? Let's try to break it down. So I'll show you an email conversation between me and Ankur Variku, right? I'm sure a lot of you would know Ankur Variku. He's a creator and a founder on YouTube, making amazing videos on productivity and career. So let's go to this email conversation. So back in 2020, I had just started YouTube and I really wanted to interview Ankur. I have learned so much from him. I really wanted to meet him. I really wanted to hear and talk to him. Right. So I wrote this very simple email that I want you to have a look at. It's very simple and it is what will teach you how to keep it super stupid simple. So let's have a look at this, right? I just say, hello, sir. I am Ishan Sharma, second year student at BITSCOA. Really motivated by your story. Also, your videos on YouTube are helpful. I run a YouTube channel where I interview people. It would be amazing to have you on an episode to learn about your journey. Please let me know if this is possible. It's a very simple email, right? The first line explains who am I. And the second line is about what is the relationship? Like what is the context here? Why should Ankur read this email? So you establish that relation that I've been watching your videos and I'm very motivated by your story. And lastly is the two lines. I run this YouTube channel. I would love to interview you on a podcast. That's it. Every email should be divided into three segments. First is you explaining who you are, just one sentence. Second is what the context is there. Why should someone read this email? Or how are you both related? And lastly is your ask. What do you want from the other person? It should not be a vague ask. It should not be a very obvious question. It should be something very specific. Be very specific about it and just ask that question right there. And that is your email, right? Very simple, just 4 to 5 lines at max. And that is going to be your email. Most people that I receive emails from overcomplicate everything, right? They are writing paragraphs to me. I respect your time and the energy you put in, but I do not have the time. I'm getting 20 to 30 emails every single day of such people. I want to reply to all of them, but I just do not have the time, unfortunately. So you need to be clear and concise. Make it short and keep it stupid simple. That is the framework that will help you write effective emails which actually get replies, right? And then Ankur replies back and says, would love to be a part of this, but I'm not, but I'm completely booked. I'm completely blocked, he says. And he says that let's connect post October. And this is September time, right? And this is what will happen to you a lot. You ask something, but you don't get it on email. So they say that abhi to available nahi hai. Abhi we cannot do this. Let's check back later. Or maybe you just do not get an answer from the other person. What do you do then? Let's try to figure that out. So I then follow up with him again. He said post October. So this is around October. I just message him. Hey, hello, sir. Since we are in October end, please let me know if you will be able to free 20-minute podcast episode. If you're free for 20-minute podcast episode. And again, that is a follow-up email. Emailing is 30% creating the first email, and the rest 70% is all about you showing up and following up with the other person. And following up is what most people do not do, because of which they don't get the best opportunities. So I followed up with him asking if it is possible. I'm being kind, I'm being very patient with his reply. And he replies back again saying that it's still not possible. So he says that I know I'd requested you to get in touch with me at the end of October. I will have to push it even further. Blocked out for the rest of the year, right? So he's replying, which is amazing. Most people do not reply to emails. He is replying, and that is an amazing thing. If they do not reply, keep following up after 48 hours, then follow up after 4 days, then 6, 7 days. And if they're still not replying, then maybe you need to find another way for you to contact them. Maybe LinkedIn DMs, maybe Instagram DMs, maybe find someone who knows that person and then talk to that referral. So that is how you do it. Then I again reach out to him in April of 2021 and I say that I have gotten so much value from you. I want to thank you for the wonderful work you've done. Again, I've given my intro and then I have talked about what is the relationship between us. And then I asked this question. I wanted to ask if you can join me for a video on my channel. And to my surprise, he replied and he says, let's do this, Ishan, in April of 2021. Right. So I was following up. My first email to him went up on the 22nd of September of 2020. And the thing finally happened in April of 2021. So you see, if you want opportunities, you have to be patient and you have to follow up as much as possible. Right. So that is essentially how that works. Going on to the next part, you should at all times be using Grammarly. It's a free tool that you can use and you can correct all the basic errors that you might make, right? We are writing something very fast and we are bound to make errors, but it's very important to quickly do a spell check and a grammar check on everything you've written. And you can do that with Grammarly, right? It's a brilliant tool. I've been using it for as long as I can remember, since 10th grade, and it's very, very effective. So always write something, paste it into Grammarly and just check, is this really, making sense? Can I write this in a better way? And if you can, Grammarly will tell you about it. And then you can go back and you can start writing more effectively. Avoid abbreviations. This is the biggest mistake people make. They will start, saying something complex and they'll start saying, ABC. What is ABC? I don't know what ABC is. And then they'll say ABC is, they'll give a full form of it. Or they'll just write something like this. How are you? Well, this is good in a casual setting. You can text your friend, how are you, like this, but it looks very unprofessional when you're talking to someone on a business relation. So always be professional, be formal, write completely, and do not use abbreviations. Write the full form, do not use abbreviations. It's a very important tip to understand. Okay, so that was all about written skills. Let's get down to the verbal skills, right? So how do you communicate better? Let's talk about that. I firmly believe that most Indians do not lack vocabulary. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको पता नहीं है क्या बोलना है. ऐसा नहीं कि आपने सुना नहीं है कभी. It's not that you lack vocabulary, but you lack the confidence to speak. Right? Most people lack the confidence to speak effectively. And if you can just fix this one part, you will start to communicate much better. Right? So this just one thing you can fix and you can get a lot of things done. So let's try to fix your confidence right now. Right now, confidence comes when you have structure. If you have structure about what you will be speaking, you will automatically be confident that I know I'll be talking about three things, right? That's why this whole talk is divided into three parts. First one was personal branding, the second was skill stacking, and the last one, communication skills. It makes it very easy for me to understand everything, right? It's a 1 hour long talk. I'm still able to, talk it with confidence without checking something else because I have structure in place. And that is what gives me confidence. Well, let's try to understand, where does structure come from? Structure comes from writing. If you can write something down and you can break it down into points, then you have a structure and then you will get confidence. and that is how you'll speak effectively. So let's try to figure this out, right? It's very important for you to have a open and wide body posture. This is the biggest mistake people make. Whenever I go to events, whenever I meet people, they are they're very closed, right? They'll just, they'll wrap their hands like this, and they'll keep a very closed body posture. And to me, that just signals that you're underconfident, you are insecure about yourself, you don't want to open up, and hence I should not talk to you, right? That's just how I feel. You might feel cold, that's why you're doing this, but don't do that. Whenever you're meeting someone, open up yourself, right? So the first thing to do, straighten your back. Okay, lower your shoulders, puff out your chest, and walk like this, and have a smile on your face. That is an open and wide body posture. Keep your legs wide, right? Do not, just put them close together. That again tells that you are underconfident and you're insecure. So keep a wide and open body posture whenever you go to meet someone. They can tell how you're feeling by the way your body is, looking. So that is the most important thing. Communication is, less about what you are speaking and more about how, what body cues you are giving to someone, right? So your posture tells a lot about who you are and what you are talking about than the words you speak. It's a very important thing to understand. Okay, master your 1 minute pitch. Whenever you go to meet anyone, right, in person, and they don't know you, you need to have this one very important thing, and that is the 1 minute pitch. That 1 minute pitch that tells someone why should they make you their friend, right? Why should they be interested in talking to you further? That 1 minute pitch is what you need to master. So write it down on a piece of paper. Hi, I am this, and this is what I'm working in. I have been doing XYZ in the last few years, and I have created this impact. Be very specific and just learn that pitch. Whenever you go to meet anyone, you have that pitch ready. So you speak with confidence, you have that structure in place, and it immediately creates that interest in someone to talk to you more. So again, most people that go to events do not have a 1 minute pitch. I go to so many events, and this is the first thing that I've realized, right? So always introduce yourself and just, learn how to communicate with that first 1 minute pitch. Start speaking slowly. I remember when I first gave my speech in front of 35 people in Mumbai, I used to speak too fast. I just thought that I should communicate faster and that would look that I'm smart. It does not. I start to stammer and stutter, and my mind is going wild and I don't know what to speak. So speak slowly, give pauses. There is a lot of value in keeping your audience hooked when you speak and then you stop. This pause that I'm having right now is what creates interest. ये बंदा आगे क्या बोलेगा, right? That thought, that what will he say next, that is what creates interest, and that is how you will keep your audience hooked. So start speaking slowly, take the pauses. There is no, rush. Don't be in a hurry. Start maintaining an eye contact. There are so many people who start talking to me and they'll just be looking here or there, or they'll just look at some other part, some other person, and I will just not feel heard. You are right next to me. I'm speaking something. You are nodding your head, but you're looking to other people. Your legs are positioned like you want to leave this conversation, and I can tell that. But when you maintain eye contact, that is what tells that you want to talk to me, and hence you are looking in my eyes. And that's a very simple tactic to ensure that you are showing interest and the other person is also interested in you when you maintain that eye contact. So another important thing is to be genuinely curious in the other person. If you want to communicate effectively, start being curious in the other person. Ask questions and genuinely listen to what they have to say. Ask a follow-up question. The more curious you will be, the more you will get to know about the other person. But when you do that, start sharing your own experiences as well. Right? So you start with some questions. How is your day going today? How does your weekend look like? What activities you love to do which does not pay you money. Just these questions you can create for yourself, and you can start asking those to people around you. This will help you to make more friends. You'll be able to create more, formal relationships with people, and this will just be very good for you to create opportunities. At the end, I want to leave you with this 4-step challenge. This is something that I have been doing, and it has helped me tremendously to speak better, to communicate effectively with clarity. So this 4-step challenge is going to help you improve your communication skills, right? I hope all of you are taking screenshots. If you find anything valuable from this whole talk, take screenshots, right? Write it down on a piece of paper and execute. Because again, I will come here and speak. There will be more people who will come here and speak, but you will not be able to retain if you don't take notes. So please take notes. Okay. The first thing to do is to record a 5-minute impromptu video. Every single day, get into a habit of taking your phone, take this phone and record a video, impromptu, without thinking anything. Just set up your phone over here and start speaking that, hi, this is what happened today. This is what I learned from today experiences. Just make a 5-minute impromptu video, talk in English and record that whole thing. Once you've recorded that, the next thing you do is to turn the volume up and just put the phone sideways. So you're just listening to the way you speak, to your audio, to the modulation you're having in your voice, and just listen that. How do you speak? Are you speaking slowly? Are you speaking too fast? Pay attention to it and take notes. Observe and take notes as much as possible, right? So this is your audio review. You're looking at your audio and understanding how can it be made better? What mistakes are you making when you're speaking effectively? So that is the first step. The second step is a visual review in which you are muting the audio and you are just having a look at the visuals. You are just seeing how are you communicating? Are you using your facial expressions, your eyebrows, other facial muscles? Are you using your hands to communicate or not? Are you walking? Are you using your legs or not? This is very important. Again, as I said, communication is a lot more about how you present yourself, about how you move, than what you speak, right? People can tell you're confident by the way your body posture is. So pay a lot of attention on the visual review. Are your hands in the pockets when you're speaking? That again tells that you're underconfident. If you are using your hands too much while you're speaking, that again looks very odd, right? Like I'm doing right now. This looks weird. Why am I shaking my hand like that? It looks weird. So observe all of this, and that is your visual review. The third one is transcribing. Transcribe every single thing that you've said on a piece of paper in that 5-minute call, that video, and start to see what fillers are you using, what phrases are you using again and again, and start to get rid of it. If you figure out what those fillers are and just remove them, your speech will become much clearer. So instead of having the uh, right, instead of all of this, you just have silence, just silence, and that will make it much more polished. That is very important whenever you're speaking to anyone. And lastly, observe the mistakes and rinse and repeat. Keep at it. Do it for 45 days. Today is 15th of December. I want you to do this from today itself. Just take your phone and talk about what you learned from this call, from this video that we are doing right now. Just say, hi, I attended Ishan's call, and this is what I learned from the whole experience, and this is what happened in my day. Do this for 45 days, and I guarantee you that you will improve. The way you communicate will improve. The way you sound, the way you present yourself and your body posture will improve dramatically if you are able to notice your mistakes and avoid it the next time. So that is the 4-step challenge that I want you to take from today itself, so that by the end of January 2024, you will speak amazingly well. So that is the third and the last segment. There's just one last thing that I want to say before we end this talk, and that is about your parents, right? Like we're talking about career, upskilling, freelancing, or all the other topics, but throughout this whole process, don't forget your parents. You'll find that the real peace in life is with your parents. I know this because I've spent the last 1 year with them. while most people are moving out of their parents' house, they are settling in other, cities and countries, and they are away from their parents. Right now, I have moved out of my house and I've gotten a flat outside of my parents' house. And this is my picture of my father with a picture of me when I was just born. And this is the day when I dropped out of college, and he was the biggest supporter of it. I dropped out because I wanted to pursue my dreams full time. I wanted to work on my business full time. And he supported me. Instead of saying, "Ki, why are you doing this?" He was like, "I believe you." And that is the biggest gift I could get from him. That trust, that he trusts me that I can do bigger things in life even without a college degree. And the best thing I can tell you is spend more time with your parents. Most of the answers in life for your career, for how to live a good life, will be with your parents. So just spend more time with your parents, ask them questions, learn from their experiences. This is my father wishing me for this event that I'm in currently. I was just about to do this. He messaged me today and wished me best of luck. So yeah, that is the talk. Those were the three things. And the last thing is to spend more time with your parents. Thank you so much. I will now open up for questions.
Absolutely brilliant, Ishan, and we are really, really all very impressed. And there are a million takeaways for from this session. So thank you
Thank you.
very much for being with us today and sharing your insights. Absolutely incredible stuff.
Thank you so
So
much, sir.
we have So no problem. We are welcome, and we have a lots and lots of questions today in the Q&A sections. But in the interest of time, we cannot answer all the questions. So at some point, we'll connect with you to get the answers and post it on LinkedIn for the benefit of our trainees.
Absolutely.
However, just one question, and this is, I feel, is very relevant to every one of us. So if you could answer this question, a short answer perhaps. So when we talk to social media, there is something we called trolling. And
Yeah.
if someone becomes popular, it is absolutely inevitable. People will troll you for good or worse reasons. So what do you feel about this? Because this is something based on which a lot of people back off. They give up their dreams. Happens even beyond social media. So how would you advise our trainees and other people to combat this?
I think that that is the biggest question, the most important question you could ask, because recently there was someone who took their life because of the comments they were seeing on Instagram reels.
Hmm.
And it happens every single day. It happened to me when I started my journey of making videos on YouTube. So the way I look at it is very simple. I've learned it from Gary Vaynerchuk. He says that you should not overvalue the good comments, and when you do that, you will not be affected by the bad comments as well. So the way I look at it is, whenever you are creating content on social media, no one knows your whole story. They're just looking at that post you've written, and that creates an image in their mind about who you are. And your life is so much bigger, right? So they don't have full perspective of who you are, yet they will give you their best judgment. But now you know, right? I am much more than what my post was talking about. And so I will not take that hate comment or trolling to heart. This is the most important lesson. If you want to build a personal brand, you have to learn to be stoic about it, right? Stoicism is very important for you to be when you create content on online. So you are neutral, basically. You are neutral to the good comments, and hence you're also neutral to the bad comments. You don't get happy, you don't get sad, right? So it is that state of neutrality that helps you win. It's very
Absolutely.
hard. It's easier said than done. मैं तो ऐसे बोल रहा हूँ because I've learned it in the last 3 years, but you will get there. I hope you get there in some point.
Absolutely brilliant perspective, Ishan. I loved it. Thank you so much for your very, very interesting session. And I do believe there are a lot of takeaways from it. So
Thank you
thank you
so
again,
much.
Ishan. And now it's time for the vote of thanks. And I would like to call upon Mr. Shujan Ganguly, Branding and Amplification Lead from Youth Employment Program. So Shujan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Deb, for introducing me, and thanks a lot, Ishan. It was a wonderful session. I'm in awe of the way you have shared a million takeaways with us, and I'm sure that the trainees have taken a lot of inputs from this wonderful, wonderful session.
Thank
Couple
you.
of
Thank you so much.
takeaways for me would certainly be the way you have brilliantly articulated the three pillars of building your brand, and the way you have actually shown the marriage of hardcore skills as well as the complementary skills. I think that's certainly something that our trainees would take away. Your skill stack theory, the case format in which you keep it simple and stupid, or the other way around, right? And the 45 days challenge, I'm sure all the trainees are definitely going to look up to it. Right. So it's been an amazing session, Nishan. We can't thank you enough for this. And it's been a wonderful time that we've spent with you. On the same note, I would also like to thank all our trainees who have participated in groups, who have been very active in the Q&A window by putting in questions to you. And I'm really thankful to all the TPOs, principals, our TCS Empowers family who have made this event happen, and especially the organizing committee. So thanks a lot, everyone, and a wonderful session indeed. Until next time, goodbye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you.